All praise, I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. I pray that I'm saved, there's no telling how it might go. Angels watching everything and they don't make no typos. I pray that you make the switch while you can see that light close, so you don't die here like you trying to let that white show. And my aura like a 98. They say it's 12, well I'm trying to slide in any gate. I'm trying to live for infinity, a figure 8. I pray the Lord, he forgive me for that interstate. Dog visions gave me dog days. Whole time he never left me in my off ways. The rock was a white color off beige, not a rock giving me the praise like all praise. I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after.
Okay, head down, eyes closed, praise Abba, looking like thumbs up, 7 up. This a blessing of the Father, never luck. Put my demons on ice like a puck. Repentance or the Most High, cause tomorrow ain't promised. Life is abrupt. Revelation from my meditation. This is elevation. We like kites going up. Chef, I gotta agree with the hook. All praises to the Most High, the book. I'm his anointed, my enemy shook. We ain't give up despite what it took. I'm starting to feel like a boat on the shore. Before we make waves, he still got to push. On fire for Abba, I feel like the bush. Humble and chef, we like you to cook. Chef.
Better yet, I'm in a better book. Babylon burning, don't ever look back at that city, you silly, you ever look. It ain't no weapon that's forming against me, I will be getting that weapon took. I can hear Abba keep telling me, chef in the kitchen, he cooking, he better cook. Whoa, I just spun my demons, I got rid of all my foes. I'm righteous on the inside, there's just fringes on my clothes. Cleaned up all my cup, I got no demons to expose. But a hope gon' be a hope, I you know how that goes. But thank you, my Abba, for blessing me. And thank you for all of my brothers, too many to name, that just want the best for me. And thank you for Duty and Nikki, they always be with me, forever my legacy. And thank you for keeping the evil away from me, that one especially. All praise, Abba came and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping. I've been living so far, but so bad at my friends. And Babylon is so far, it's too close to pretend. Someone give me a shofar, it's time to blow again. Just look over your shoulders, they holding back the winds. All praises to Jehovah for holding back my sins. Your presence getting closer, I feel it in my skin. Messiah like the weather, cause he gon' rain again. Captivity is over, the world's about to end. And I don't wanna die. No, I don't wanna die. No, I wanna die, wanna live. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die, I just need to live. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die. No, I don't wanna die. Look up in the skies, I see death in the disguise. And I keep seeing chariots all hours of the night. They fighting over Gaza, and I can hear they crying. But no one cried for us when they took away our lives. They took away our land, and they took away our tribes. took away our dignity, then took away our pride. They told us we was nothing, and they took away our lives. They took away our God, now we too broken to fight. Fight in the name of the Lord, now we on one accord, get a shield and a sword. Get the heathen and bring them on board. We minutes from deep in this spiritual war, living the prophecy. Hallelujah, my Abba for watching me. Hallelujah, my Abba for stopping me. When I was on Gomo for broccoli, when I saw that was mixing up properly, I was just really a slave, but now I'm repented and saved. Every day I've been feeling amazed. All praises for turning the page. But I done came out of that valley and now I be standing up out of that grave. I see Edom be out of his cage. See the city go up in a blaze. No, 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 I don't wanna die, no.
I don't wanna die, wanna live.
I don't wanna die.
I don't wanna die, I just need to live.
I don't wanna die, no.
I don't wanna die, no, no.
I don't wanna die, no, 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 I don't wanna die, no. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die, no. I don't wanna die.
Wait. Shalom, shalom, y'all. All praises to the Most High. Good to be back, in front of the camera, bringing out the Most High, bringing out the Most High's word, doing the Most High's will. Just want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, for allowing us to be here another Sabbath, allowing us to come out and him using us as vessels to bring out his word, to bring out some information. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's something that y'all know. Maybe it's something that y'all never even thought of. You know what I'm saying? So, most high willing, brothers and sisters is edified, and that he, bless this class. You can go ahead and add anything.
Shalom, everybody. Happy Sabbath on the 7th day of the week. Really do appreciate it that we here to see it. Definitely want to send up prayers to all Israel. Israel is going through a battle, from every brother and sister all around the globe where Israel scattered four corners. We pray for one another and stay strong with one another. And we endure to the end because the Most High is definitely preparing us to get ready. That, I land there.
All right, so all praises, man. Let's get into it, right? So, y'all see the title, right? Seeing the thumbnail, right? That's it. Just 1 month, right? And this is literally, we on the brink of the end of their first month and then to the beginning of their second month, which the world deems as Black History Month, right? So the purpose of this class is to, show y'all where it came from, right? To show y'all who hijacked it, right? And then to show y'all, the real history, you know what I'm saying, of who we should really be recognizing, right? So is it important to know, your history on this side of captivity? True. You can know some, right? But it's more important to know the history of our forefathers, the prophets, right? That the Most High gave and that he sent down, to warn his people, right? So we just here to, again, like I said, to just bring out some information. So got a couple of lengthy videos. So it won't be a whole lot of scripts, at least not on my end, until towards the end of the class, right? So, starting out, I do want to begin with the scripture, so let me share my screen. All right, do want to begin sharing entire screen. Bam. do want to begin with Second Esdras. Right, Second Esdras chapter 6. Picking up at verse 54.
All right. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
Mm-hmm.
All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
For our sakes, right? For Israel, right? Go ahead.
As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
All right, go ahead.
And now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten,
Thy what?
thy only begotten,
Go ahead.
and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands.
All right, go ahead. Last verse.
If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?
All right, so how long are we gonna keep celebrating and keep being happy over a month that they gave us? How long are we gonna come on the radio stations, right? And during Black History Month and going over the same old rewash Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. You know, how long are we going to keep on doing this, right? How long are we going to not crack open the Bible and see ourselves in it and see that the world is made for our sakes? So how can the world tell us that it's literally, hey, this is Black History Month? Every month is Black History Month, right? Because this world was made for us, right? So let's just get into some things, a couple things, right? So where is that tab? It's right here. So we're going to read where this Black History Month originated from, right? And right, so starting out, we're going to see who it originated from to show y'all that more than likely this brother was one of our people, right? So we're going to read it, and then we're going to watch a 2-minute video, pretty much just summarizing what we're going to read, right? So this website is, let me see if I can see it right. So this is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, right? And this is founded by Carter G. Woodson, right? So, my God, I'm gonna read this because it's gonna be like them scriptures that's in Sirach at the end. You know, it's gonna be a lot of reading. So, I read this starting out.
Okay.
Right. So, this says the story of Black History Month begins in Chicago during the summer of 1915. An alumnus of the University of Chicago with many friends of the city, Carter G. Woodson traveled from Washington, D.C. to participate in a national celebration of the 50th anniversary of emancipation sponsored by the state of Illinois. Thousands of African Americans traveled from across the country to see exhibits highlighting the progress their people had made since the destruction of slavery. Awarded a doctorate in Harvard 3 years earlier, Woodson joined other exhibitors with a Black History display. Despite being held at the Coliseum, the site of 1912 Republican Convention, an overflow crowd of 6 to 12,000 waited outside for their turn to view the exhibits. inspired by the 3 week celebration, right? So this is a 3 week long thing that they were attending, right? Woodson decided to form an organization to promote the scientific study of Black life and history before leaving town. On September 9th, Woodson met at the Wabash YMCA with A.L. Jackson, and three others, formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life in History. Right? So it says, I'm only probably going to read maybe two more paragraphs. Right? So it says, he hoped that others would popularize the findings that he and other Black intellectuals will publish in the Journal of Negro History, which he established in 1916. As early as 1920, Woodson urged Black civic organizations to promote the achievements that researchers were uncovering. A graduate member of Omega Psi Phi, he urged his fraternity brothers to take up the work. In 1924, they responded with the creation of Negro History and Literature Week, and they renamed Negro Achievement. That's like it, which they renamed Negro Achievement Week. Right, so this thing started out as a week, right, created by what seems to be our people. Right, it says their outreach was significant, but Woodson desired greater impact, as he told an audience of Hampton Institute students, "We are going back to that beautiful history. It is going to inspire us to greater achievements." In 1925, he decided that the association had to shoulder the responsibility. Going forward, it would both create and popularize knowledge about the Black past. He sent out a press releasing announcing Negro History Week in February 1926. Right, so again, it started out as a week long type of thing, right? So now let's see why he chose that, right? It says Woodson chose February for reasons of tradition and reform, right? So hold on, I thought it was just about, recognizing Blacks, right? It says it is commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthdays of two great Americans who played a prominent role in shaping Black history, namely Abraham Lincoln. Right? This is red flag number one. Right? Red flag number one, because we know that Abraham Lincoln was a devil and he did devilish things. They try to hype him up as if he cared about Black people, but we know that not to be true. Right? So, namely Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthdays are the 12th and 14th, respectively. Right? So, they choosing this because the world is celebrating Abraham Lincoln birthday and Frederick Douglass birthday. Right? This is why it was chosen. Right? One of the reasons. Right? It says, more importantly, he chose them for reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the Black community, along with other Republicans, have been celebrating the fallen president's birthday, which is why you always see it on the camera. Right? I mean, not on the camera, on the calendar. It's lucky. Right? You see his birthday listed on the calendar. Now, hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Any calendar that I've grew up having, I've always seen Abraham Lincoln's birthday, but I've never seen Frederick Douglass' birthday on the calendar. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't wrong that I know. I haven't seen it either. I was going to mention it, but I was going to let you finish it.
Come, right? So, and then also to mention something else, just in case people didn't know, right? It's a very good chance that Frederick Douglass is not even our people, right? When you look up his history on who his father was or who his father might have been, right? You'll literally see that his father was what could have been his father, and what many believed to be his father was a slave owner, right? Which would explain the reason why he had so much, good treatment as a slave and on that plantation, right? But that's, y'all could do your own research on that, right? So the rest of it says, and since the late 1890s, Black communities across the country have been celebrating Douglas. Well aware of the pre-existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around traditional days of commemorating the Black past. He was asking the public to extend their study of Black history, not to create a new tradition. And doing so, he increased his chances for success. Right? So I'm gonna stop it right there. This is plenty more on this. Of course, this is an article from his website, that it was created. Or I'm sure he didn't create the website because this was way 1920 something, but he's the founder of it, right? Of the studies. All right, so now you wanted to ask him?
No, you good.
Okay. All right, so now to kind of summarize everything that I read, all right, we just gonna watch this little quick 2-minute video.
To truly understand Black History Month, we need to go back in time. It all began in the early 20th century when a visionary historian named Carter G. Woodson embarked on a mission to ensure that the rich history and achievements of Black Americans were recognized and celebrated. In 1926, he launched Negro History Week, choosing the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. In the thrilling decades that followed, a powerful transformation swept across the nation. Mayors of cities, inspired by the winds of change, began to issue electrifying yearly proclamations heralding the birth of Negro History Week. But this was just the beginning. As the spirit of the civil rights movement gained momentum and a newfound awakening of Black identity spread like wildfire, Negro History Week underwent a remarkable metamorphosis. College campuses ignited with the energy of progress, and it wasn't long before this week extended its reach, blossoming into the exhilarating Black History Month that we know today. Then, in a monumentous turning point, President Gerald Ford stepped onto the stage of history in 19...
So now, here we go. Right? We see this devil on the screen. Right? Now, a whole 50 years done went past, right? Since 1926. Whole 50 years went past. Here come this devil, thinking he's doing something noble. Right? He's going to take this thing, he's going to hijack it. Right? So let's keep going. Because when we read what Woodson's studies was, he just said to go into deep into Black culture, Black life, right? But let's see what he did. All right, Ford.
76. With an electrifying decree, he officially christened Black History Month, urging the nation to seize his...
Now, whoever asked for his permission, whoever asked for him to christen anything, who is he to christen anything? All right? But our people go ahead and they take this month as one of the most quote unquote monumental months, right? And they give it to you as the shortest month. It's the shortest month of the year. You really think we can fit Black history in 28 days, sometimes 29? All right, you can't even fit it in all 12 months. You need years of that anyway. This is why I said that every day is Black history, because this world was made for our sakes. But let's keep going.
Extraordinary opportunity. His call to action resonated with passion. Honor the often overlooked triumphs of Black Americans across the entire spectrum of human achievement throughout our storied history. Fast forward to today, and Black History Month stands as a dynamic tribute to the indomitable spirit of African Americans who have left an indelible mark on the tapestry of U.S. history and society. It's a celebration that knows no bounds, paying homage to visionaries, activists, civil rights pioneers, titans of industry, political trailblazers, scientific luminaries, cultural icons, and so much more.
we see how we arrived at an entire month worth of celebration, right? Now, the one thing neither one of these guys did, right, is they didn't go into the real history, which is in the scriptures, which is what we're going to go into after we finish with, like I said, after we finish with these videos, right? So let's go to another video. Let's get some more history that happened here in America, right? So I'm gonna exit out of here so I can see my tabs better. Now this is a 30-minute long video. We're not gonna watch the full 30 minutes, but like I said, it's two lengthy videos that we're gonna check out. All right, so this is literally this video is called Black People in America Thousands of Years Before Columbus. Now some of this stuff is exaggerated, right? Then we all know that when they mention African Americans, so on and so forth, we know who it's talking about. We know who it's referring to. All right, so let's go.
Christopher Columbus did not discover America. Exactly. I mean, never mind the question of like how you can discover a place where the inhabitants are watching you arrive from the shore. Yeah, they weren't wearing pants. Is that what somebody said?
All right. So remember, the world was made for our sakes. What we started out the class with, right? Just remember that the world was made for our sakes. So guess what? We would have been everywhere, right? But at least definitely before these other nations. All right. And even if it wasn't before, guess what? It was still made for us. He chose us to rule and run and govern the world.
And I like that.
Blacks as we know them are as old as time, and their existence in the civilized world could be traced down to the very early centuries, even before the coming of Christ. Going forward, the conventional history reports that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. And the same history also says that the first black people to arrive America were enslaved Africans brought by Portuguese and Spanish traders in the early 16th century through the transatlantic slave trade. Well, none of these claims are true. We've been fooled all these while, as always has been the case. Interestingly, recent research has proven that some black people had been in America for more than 1,000 years before Columbus ever stepped foot into.
That winning feeling you love? Bring it everywhere you go with the Hollywood Casino app. Your next big thrill is just a tap away. New players get 300 bonus spins, plus up to 1,000 back in casino credits. Hollywood Casino. Download and play today.
While our nation's best are giving their blood, sweat, and tears in Milan.
Into the American continent. In fact, there is strong evidence pointing to the fact.
What is the main idea in your book?
We definitely know that that's true, right? We definitely know that the Northern Kingdom sailed over here after the Syrian captivity, right? We definitely know that, right? And it's even said that there's been evidence of Solomon even being on this side of the world, right? At a point in time. But I mean, he was the wisest king, so hey, why not? Right? But definitely for sure, we know that the Northern Kingdom sailed over here after that captivity.
They came before Columbus.
The main idea in my book is to show that early America before the coming of Columbus, was a far more complex society than people imagined, and that it involved Africans. Africans came in here. They came in on several occasions. Sometimes these were accidents. Sometimes they were on purpose, and that they had an influence, an actual impact, an influence upon the formation of certain American civilizations.
When we say pre-Columbus period, what are we talking about?
We're talking about long before 1492. It is absurd, and only fools can still believe that Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492. In fact, Columbus never even came to this continent. Columbus wandered about in the Caribbean islands, just on the very edge of the great civilizations.
Shocked? Don't be. It is true.
They don't teach that in school. They just say he came here to America. Right? They don't teach that information that he arrived in the Caribbean islands and things of that nature first, right? They etch that out and say, hey, they discovered this. I always want to take credit.
Unraveling the raw truth behind the curtains of history is what we are about today in this video. Journey with us in our quest to find out just who the real lords of the Americas actually are.
So anyway, there were actually many other mariners before Columbus that discovered America as well. Decades earlier, even eons earlier, there were so many people that were coming across these islands and this continent. But it's only been in the last century that evidence has surfaced and continually grown to indicate that many of these pre-Columbian explorers might have come from Africa.
The facts point out that black people actually it was who were in America thousands of years before Columbus. Before we go on, do not forget to support our efforts by hitting the like button before you. Share with your friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative, and consider subscribing to stay with us for more if you are yet to. All right, let us dive in, shall we?
That many of these pre-Columbian explorers might have come from Africa. So the first scientist to promote this possibility was Leo Wiener. Born in Russia, Wiener immigrated to the United States in the late 19th century on his way to British Honduras, where he planned to open a vegetarian commune. Well, when that turned out not to be the dream job he expected, he moved back to the United States and he became a professor at Harvard University, as one does. But in his time in Mesoamerica, he started noticing things. There are lots of things that led him to encounter certain discoveries that made him consider that possibly if the origins of American civilization might actually be in Africa. So he observed so many linguistic and botanical and other similarities that between 1920 and 1922, he published an extensive 3-volume piece called Africa and the Discovery of America. Now, unfortunately, this is the 1920s, so as yet, no serious archaeological evidence had been done to, or work had been done to support his botanical theories, because everyone knows over raiding tombs in Egypt and things like that. Nod to Howard Carter. So he didn't have a whole lot of other stuff than the names to support him. However, he knew that other clues must exist. For example, he pointed out that Columbus himself was aware that African mariners had preceded him. In his diary of his second voyage, Columbus tells of how the natives of Hispaniola actually had given him gold-tipped metal spearheads that they said were brought by black-skinned people who had come in large boats from the south and southeast. Coincidence? I think not. No.
That's literally
so what's
the trade when they got here, right? That's literally, we had all of these things, had all of these resources. So the one thing that they did have was gunfire, which we started to trade a lot of stuff for, right? Trading a lot of stuff for the guns, but it was the guns with no ammo, right? It's just the ammo that's within the guns, which we can definitely later understand why and how they took over. That tells you that right there. You selling guns to people that don't know how to create ammo, right? So of course, you still gonna have guns left, and now you're gonna come back over after you done basically bamboozled us, right, for all of our resources for guns. Now you're gonna come back over with your other guns, and you're gonna take over, right? But they still had a hard time. We were still whooping their butt.
Interesting about that. So upon returning to Spain is that he actually took the spearheads and he sent them away, and they had them assayed, and it turned out to be that these spearheads were covered in this metal this alloy that the inhabitants called guanin, and the metallurgists actually found out that this was an alloy of 32 parts. It was like 18 of gold, 6 of silver, 8 of copper, which matched the metal used in spearheads made in Western Africa for thousands of years, as carried by medieval African warriors, including the Mali and the Moors. The West Africans even called this metal guanine, the same name used by the natives.
Notice that the West Africans, the Manis, the Moors, those are Israelites. That was us. Right? That's all that we know. That was us. Especially when we was in captivity. But let's keep going.
Hispaniola. But nothing more was said about that.
Let me mute this until I can skip it. There we go.
Conspiracy. Well, probably because, in the interest of Spain, it was in their best interest that they didn't want to have any challenges to the discovery and the claims of the islands of the West Indies.
You heard that? Yes, it was the black-skinned that had already discovered and populated America for thousands of years before Columbus sailed there and then landed in the Caribbean by some mistake. Columbus landed in the Americas on October 12th, 1492. He landed at a small island in the Bahamas and had 3 separate trips after that, repeatedly returning.
Right, so just want to point out something, because remember, it says that he landed in the Caribbean islands first and then here. He didn't just stumble upon this place. He had some people with him from those places, right? Our other brothers and sisters that was in those places that showed him this place, right? These people are not smart at all. Like, they not smart at all. They would probably die trying to find this place if it wasn't for the people that was on those islands. Right? I just wanted to point that out.
Turning to the Bahamas, as well as an island later called Hispaniola, modern-day Haiti, and Dominican Republic. Suffice it to say that he had brought hell to the people who had welcomed him with open arms in the Republic when he got there. This has always been a signature, right?
Christopher Columbus, one of the great European heroes, turns up on the island of Hispaniola. He was welcomed by the native people. They embraced them. They treated them with fantastic hospitality. His soldiers snatched babies from the breasts of their mothers and dashed their heads against the rocks. Children were fed alive to his dogs. Women's breasts were cut off. He decided to hang 13 of the Native Americans in Hispaniola to recreate the crucifixion of Jesus, plus the apostles. It's true that the majority of people died there of disease. Disease is introduced by the Europeans unwittingly, but many others were driven to death through overwork, direct murder, through starvation as their resources were taken away. Columbus insisted that everybody bring him a certain amount of gold, and those who failed to do so had their hands cut off. Some were sent back to their villages with their hands and their noses tied around their necks, having been amputated by his soldiers. And what he did there set the pattern for the genocidal extermination of almost all the Native American peoples. 100 million before Columbus made landfall. By the 19th century, that had come down to less than 1 million across the Americas. Overtly endorsed by such revered figures as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who wrote about the necessity of wiping out Native American peoples.
Let us not veer too far away, however, from the actual subject of discourse going forward here. The point being buttressed is the people who were originally known to have discovered America are not only Africans, but are believed to have also come from Asia some 15,000 years ago, meaning that Europeans or Americans are far from it. However, contrary to popular belief, African-American history did not start with slavery in the New World. The history of African presence in America dates back thousands of years before the arrival of Christopher Columbus.
Which is true, right? We know that our history don't start. Why? Because as we read in Esdras, the world was made for our sakes. So our history literally starts in Genesis chapter 1, right? That's where our history starts. But our people, they don't go back that far. When we hear about people searching up Black history, Black life, Black culture, they don't use the Bible, right? They don't equate Black history with the Bible. Why? Because they whitewashed it. They say that Jesus was white, King David was white, Moses was white, right? As we talk about almost every week at some point or another, right? They say that all of these people in the Bible was white. So, of course, nobody's going to really dig into the Bible and show the Black history. But when we pick it up and we read what Moses looked like. We pick it up and we read what King David and Solomon looked like, what Yahweh looked like. Right? This is the stuff that we have to bring out. Go ahead.
Hey, and that's why they want to take the images, right? Because how powerful they know our forefathers are and were. You know, like they want to put their face and take their name and put it on themselves because they have nothing to show for but bloodshed. So for us, they know, like, man, these are the people of dominion, the people of power, the people of God. So therefore, I will want my name to be like those famous people because we are the famous people. Every book that you see in the library, a lot of it, 99% of the time, it talks about us. Rather, if they got to cover up their images on there. You open up that book, a lot of times it's talking about the famous people that they eliminate, that they don't want to talk about, that say we the disgrace of the earth. It's all us in there. Real quick, I know you got a video. I'm just gonna read this. You know, okay. Let me get Exodus. Let's even bring it up in Exodus real quick. Exodus chapter 1, right? Like to find out it ain't just these rednecks, Ethol and them. It's these also black ashy Africans too, right? Let me get Exodus chapter 1, and let me get verse 6. Right? Because anytime when we lost a head leader or someone that had us in order, this is when the nation started to try to dive in and try to manipulate everything. Right? Read verse 6.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 6. And Joseph
start at verse 5.
Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Right? Okay.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
And all that generation. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied.
Increased and abundantly and multiplied and what?
And waxed exceeding mighty.
And it ain't just about how strong we was. We were like physical. We was also strong-minded. See, that's the one thing that these nations understand. That's why they gotta lie to us to make us to make us look stupid, because they know we are the smartest people on the earth. So when we wax and exceeding mighty, it wasn't just physical; it was all spiritual and mental, right? We had understanding on a lot of things, and they see how, like, man, these people are smart. When we're smart and intelligent, these nations are afraid. They are afraid when we are intelligent. Right? They like when we talk stupid. They like how we move around ignorant. They like that because they think that we got no sense. But when they see a brother or a sister with sense, it brings nothing but fear. That's why it waxed exceeding mighty. Go ahead.
And the children of Salakia, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Well, a lot of wise people. Go ahead.
Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Why? Because they understood if they continue to multiply and be fruitful, they would diminish us and they would continue to take over the whole world. They would even take over Egypt. You see what Joseph just did? So guess what? They'll take over our land. Why? Because we are the most famous people that God ever created, and they know we the gods of the earth. They know our sisters are the princes of the earth. Right? Continue.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
That's how they always do. No matter what nation they are, they have to come with a little tactical move of trying to come in with peace. And that's what they did with the children of Israel. Hey, we got to deal wisely with these people. These people are smart and intelligent. These people rule the earth. We can tell. We're learning. Honestly, they're watching and learning from us, but having us held captive. as they still do today. Everything that's created on this earth is made from us. And they want it, what they do, if we make something and invent something, what they do, they deal wisely with us and take it and then patent it in their own way. Our own inventions, they remove our names and our faces and put their faces on there. Right, one more.
Says, therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses.
So when you see all these pyramids that we see now today, even the one that you got on the back of your dollar bill, we built that. Rather, if it was built in slavery and in the mindset of their spiritual wickedness and their image, you got to understand that's intelligent when it's nothing but hands. That's intelligent. They know that. So everything we built is what was left on the earth is from us. But everything when we come back and rule, we will destroy, and it's going to come from us, from the Most High God. So hey, we build and we gonna destroy because they take it, and that's part of our history. I land there.
Okay. All right, so let's get some more on this video. Right, you know, about a good another 6 minutes or so, right? And we're gonna move on.
Columbus in 1492. Africans were not just brought to America as slaves during the transatlantic slave trade, but they had actually been living in the Americas long before European colonization. So, while we commend Christopher Columbus for sailing the seas in search of new land on Europe's behalf, it should be recalled that he was not the first to make that journey, as widely untaught evidence exists, suggesting that Africans made it to the Americas after the first Americans arrived on the continent, centuries before Columbus ever did.
As the poem goes, or it should anyway, in 1493, Columbus stole all he could see. Yeah, so on his second voyage, which was 10 times larger than the first, Columbus went on a frantic but unsuccessful island hopping trip to find gold and spices. He carried along several natives from his newly discovered San Salvador, which the inhabitants called Guanahanvi. Another island that the natives pointed out, which was really large, and was called Soameto. Soameto. Now, Columbus continued going around whimsically renaming every island he could find, but L.O.I. being the curious person and the linguist that he was, and the etymologist, he couldn't help noticing that the origin of these many place names and botanical names in Mesoamerica actually sounded distinctly like other languages in Africa, particularly Bantu and even Arabic.
In fact, there are several more overwhelming pieces of evidence.
That is widely known that even the Bantu people in Africa are Israelites, right? And this Arabic language that he's speaking of is literally not necessarily Arabic, right? This is literally a different dialect of Hebrew, right? When you put that stuff side by side, right? Because there's a bunch of different dialects of Hebrew, but when you put the Arabic language side by side with some of the Hebrew, you'll see that some of the characters are similar, right? It literally looks similar. I'm not the biggest scholar. I just know what my eyes see. Right, so I can't read Arabic, I can't read Hebrew, right? But what I'm telling you is they definitely look identical. So I'm just putting in context of what's being said. That's all.
Evidence showing that Black history in the Americas did not start with slavery. For instance, what of the talk about certain plants found today in America and also in Africa?
Wiener and numerous other botanists have also puzzled over the presence of certain plants that predated Columbus but originated in Africa. For example, the calabash bottle gourds. Now, this is a species originally from West Africa where they were well cultivated in America before Europeans arrived. Even long before they existed.
Notice that we know that the Israelites was in West Africa, right? So they are the ones that was planting this stuff, right? They are the ones that planted everything. We knew what it was good for. We knew what it wasn't good for, so on and so forth, right?
In Indonesia or Polynesia. So, in fact, the Pacific was the last place that bottle gourds actually reached and expanded to. Part of my covfefe. Well, if it were not for transatlantic trade pre-Columbian times, it would be very difficult to explain how certain plants, such as the yam, the sweet potato, domesticated cotton, peanuts, and tobacco, reached both West Africa and the Americas.
Africans were adept shipbuilders. They were courageously adventurous, sailing diverse parts with their well-made boats, different sizes of them. Some housed up to 80 men and some housed much more.
So how do these plants and languages and other cultural elements get to the Americas? Well, some believe...
You know how they
what's
get
it?
there.
Well,
we took them with us.
God.
We took them with us. We knew what to take with us, and when we got to America, right, the Northern Kingdom, they planted the stuff.
God.
This is what they cultivated the land with. They planted it. We already had the knowledge. We had the knowledge while we were in Egypt and in Africa, right? We had the knowledge even all through the Assyrian captivity, the Egyptian captivity, right? We had that knowledge at that time. So when our brothers left, right, to come to this land of that we know as America, North, Central, and South America, guess what? They brought that knowledge with them. This is how you explain it, right?
You're cheating. Well, some people believe that, over thousands of years, Africans migrated out of Africa and then over the Bering Strait, then down into South America, and things like that. Well, another explanation exists. And so,
see how he tried to gloss over that. he said things like that. He's like, but no, that ain't really it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, they can't give us too much credit.
Right? We came over here. We knew where we was going.
God. And you see, and this is the difference between them and us. He doesn't truly have the full knowledge of the understanding what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like the spirit, of course, he knows that his people is terror on this earth. But you see, he's reading off that laptop. That's the only thing that's different from them to us as in a way of knowledge. They read more than us. That's it. And then when they read and then they want to expel it out, and then that's when we thinking that, wow, these are the wisest people. We could do the same thing, just open up a book and read, and then we can identify this is talk about us. Simple as that. He got a big seminar, and it make it look like, it could be like hundreds of people in there listening, and it make it seem like he's the wisest man. He's just reading from the laptop.
Okay.
The doggone devil, man. Make it seem like he's smart. Because he put articulating words together, man. Get out of here.
All right.
So get ready. There you go. Let it out of your system. Awesome. Africans had ships. In fact, they had four kinds of. They had unbelievable. They had a shipload of vessels, and
we know who those. Right. We already know. Right. We the salt of the earth for a reason.
Away. The anchors way. So, in fact, they had four kinds of vessels. And Nubian pottery, this is an example of Nubian pottery with a painting on it that shows a long-hold pottery art. That shows either a long-hold boat or a papyrus raft or a hulled-out canoe. And then this other painting beside it is from, the first one was from 3000 BC, and this is a bird's eye view of an oared riverboat in Chad. And it dates from 3500 BC.
Notice what he said about 15 seconds ago, right? A papyrus raft. Who was the people that had that, right? You remember when priests did the whole thing about what the scriptures was written on first, right? Papyrus was one of those things. So we knew how tough it was at the beginning of it, right? But we definitely know why these ships wouldn't even exist now because that stuff is going to wear out. It's going to wear thin, right? So again, we know that we built this, right? And we the ones sailed the seas with that stuff.
CE. Now, the Africans of Guinea also had dugout canoes hewn from these monumental trees on the coast there. In 1500, it's just a few years after Columbus's voyage, the Portuguese captain Pacheco Pereira wrote, "In this country can be found the largest canoes made of a single trunk. Some are so large that they hold 80 men." Now, the West Africans were known to lash 2 dugout canoes together, side by side, and no one questions the seaworthiness of a similar type of Polynesian catamarans. Well, here's a 15th century Portuguese painting of sailing canoes on the Congo estuary. The Portuguese, like Captain Pereira, had heard that African traders were visiting Brazil in the mid-1400s. So to demonstrate that mariners from West Africa could have sailed to the Americas using papyrus vessels as early as 2000 BCE, Norwegian adventurer Tor Heyerdahl actually used ancient shipbuilding techniques in order to construct and sail the Ra 1 and the Ra 2 in 1969 and 70. And generally, some type of sailing vessel will average about 100 miles per day, even without sails.
Africans were in fact so good at what they do that mariners from West Africa would sail to the Americas using papyrus vessels. As
that we had enough of that. Tired of hearing that Edomite anyway. All right, so I want to grab some. Let's go to the Book of Psalms. Psalms 106. All right, because it's definitely a possibility that they could have literally been Africans, but it's only one reason that explains this, right? So Psalms 106, let's start at verse 32.
All right. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 32. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips.
All right, the children of Israel pissed Moses off. All right, we know what he did. He hit the rock instead of speaking to it, but go ahead.
They did not destroy the nations.
We didn't do what?
They did not destroy the nations.
Go ahead.
Concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
All right, but what we do?
But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works.
Right, so this is what explain why some of them could have been Africans. Right? Let's pull up this map again, right? Y'all seen this before. And this is just basically, one of the ancient maps of Israel. And we can see, right? We can see all of our lands, all of our names, right? Judah, Simeon, Reuben, Ammon, Gad, Manasseh, right? But what do we see inside of these lands, right? This is Ashtaroth, right? Which would be a short version to say Ashtaroth, right? This is one of the goddesses that the Israel served, right? Of the other nations. This is the land of Asher. This is Tyre and Zidon, or Sidon, right? The Sidonians and the people of Tyre are Hamite nations, right? We got them inside of our land. We mingled among them, or they mingled among us, even when we got our inheritance. But as we've seen in the book of Psalms, the Lord told us to destroy it, but we didn't do it, right? Here we go with the Philistine people, right? Ashkelon, Ashdod, right next to our land, just right there, right? So as we see that these people have been around us all of our lives, right? We never drove them out. Go ahead.
And when we fled into the wilderness, they held on to our coattail.
Yeah, they did.
You know what I'm saying? Even when we built the golden calf, they were in the midst of it.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely could have been some of the people that sailed the ships. Hell, I'm sure they took our people, got an infinity with these people. They love these people. They love other nations. So of course some of them came with them on them boats. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to point that out. Right? So now instead of just going into the same old repeat, right? Of Christopher Columbus, you know what I'm saying, what he did to the Indians, right? Let's get somewhat of a good history on this side, right? Let's get somewhat of a good history. So Let's click on this, right? This is loading. Right. I just want to ask y'all, right? Because we know that mostly all of the thriving cities, that we had, Rosewood, things of that nature, Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? We know that these things were burned down, right? But this is some history on the city that wasn't burned down, right? I don't know how many people is familiar with it. You can say yay or nay if you're not. But this is Mound Bayou, Mississippi, right? So let's learn about this. Let's learn about this. All right, and I just like I said, I just want to show y'all some history, that some quote unquote good history that happened with our people. Although they wasn't keeping commandments, this is how we know that it didn't last, right? But it still didn't get burned down and destroyed how those other cities were. So let's watch this. Nope, Salaki. Let me go back. Yeah, turn on the volume.
In 1904, a white man made a major mistake. He stepped off the train in the Mississippi Delta and started causing a scene, a ruckus, shoving, acting like he owned the place. In any other town in the South, if a black man touched him, it was a death sentence. The rules were very simple. White man could do no wrong, and a black man had no power. But this wasn't any other town. It was Mound Bayou. The marshal stepped out in front of the crowd, and he was a black man wearing a press uniform and a badge on his chest that gave him the full power of the state. He didn't look down. He didn't ask for permission. He walked right over to the man and put his hand on the shoulder and told him that he was under arrest. Imagine the confusion.
Beautiful. That would be beautiful to see right now. Right? So you get this Edomite like, hey, you done got beat up. You know what I'm saying? You done got hands and feet put on you, and then you still get arrested. Because this is what happened to us all the time. Right? But they don't, this is stuff that they don't talk about. This would be one of the stories that the brother Carter Woodson would be talking about, bringing forth to light. But they never brought this forth. Right? They never brought this stuff forth. We never learned about this inside of school.
On his face, he was looking around for a white officer to save him. He was looking for a white judge to dismiss his charges. But he realized a terrifying truth. None of that was coming. The mayor was black, the judge was black, and the cops were black. For the first time in his life, the color of his skin was not a get out of jail free card. And this is the story of Mound Bayou. This is One Mic Black History. I'm your host, Country Boy. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started.
That's beautiful. Man, you should have played that again, dog. He got arrested and he was looking for some help and looking for somebody that looked just like him, and he couldn't find him. Ain't that gonna be like the kingdom or what? Oh, man. Hey, that's good news right there, man. Go ahead, man. Let it play out, man. I love that.
God.
This wasn't a fantasy. It wasn't a movie. This was a real place, a black fortress in the middle of one of the most racist states in America. A place where Jim Crow.
I got to pause it real quick. But we know that Mississippi is still one of the most racist state, if not the most racist state. You know what I'm saying? It's still lynchings and everything going on down there. You know, this is why, they always tell truck drivers beware. Like when you rolling through Mississippi, hey, you better get there during the daytime. Right? Get in, get out.
What they got them, what they call it, those hours? They got like a little name. You can't be out at night or something like that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the term.
I know what it is. I can't remember, but people understand. You can't be out at night. You know, it's a curfew for black people to be out there. You can't be out at night, or you be lunch. God. Oh, you know what? Sister Tahara says sundown towns. Exactly, sundown.
Okay.
Sundown towns.
Okay. Right. So now we're hearing about the black sundown town.
Absolutely.
Had absolutely no jurisdiction. People love to talk about towns that were burned, and you know some of the names: Tulsa, Rosewood, Wilmington, North Carolina. We share the pictures of the smoke and the ruins because it fits the story that we've been taught that everything we've ever built, they destroyed it. But that doesn't tell the complete story. There was a town that they couldn't burn. A town that stood for nearly a century as a living, breathing proof that Black people did not need integration to survive. All they needed was infrastructure. This is the story of Mound Bayou, Mississippi. And if you ever wondered what it looked like when a community stops asking for permission, this is your blueprint. So to understand how a place like this could even exist, you have to go back to a bit of a paradox. You have to go back to a plantation called Davis Bend. Decades before the Civil War, there was a plantation owned by Joseph Davis, the older brother of Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. But Joseph Davis was different. He was a utopian socialist. He believed that if you gave enslaved people enough autonomy, they could produce more. So he set up a system that looked less like a labor camp and more like a twisted experiment on self-governance. Enslaved people had their own court system with their own judges and juries to settle disputes. They were trained to be managers. They learned how to keep complex ledgers, how to negotiate contracts with steamboat captains, and how to run a massive agricultural enterprise. Growing up in this system was a young man by the name of Isaiah T. Montgomery. He was more than just a laborer. He was a secretary. He was in the room where deals were being made. He saw the paperwork, and he learned the hidden language of capitalism. When the Civil War ended, Isaiah looked around at the chaos of Reconstruction and saw the violence rising. He saw the Ku Klux Klan forming, and he realized something profound. Integration was a trap. As long as Black people lived under white jurisdiction, they would never truly be free. He didn't want to fight for a seat at the table. He was trying to build his own damn house. He knew that he couldn't just take the land. He had to make a deal with the system. So in 1887, he found a surveyor's map and pointed to a spot in the Yazoo Delta, a place that no one wanted. It was about 840 acres of nightmare. It was thick with timber, swamp water, and black bears. The mosquitoes were so thick that if you waved your hand, you'd catch a fistful. The Louisville, New Orleans, and Texas Railroad owned the land, but they couldn't do anything with it because no white settlers were desperate enough to clear it. So Isaiah Montgomery put on his suit and went to the railroad executives and made them a business proposition. He said, "You have a railroad going through a useless swamp. Sell it to us. We'll clear the trees, we'll drain the water, we'll plant the cotton, and we'll turn your empty track into a gold mine." The white executives simply
Hold on, but I thought Black people was lazy. You know, that's the narrative that they paint. They say that we lazy. They say we don't want to do nothing. Say we don't want to do no work. But as you can see, that this Edomite slave gave this opportunity, right? He taught his slaves this and that, right? But little did he know that it would turn on his own head. You know what I'm saying? But they say that we lazy, but this is clearly proof that we're not.
Hey, they mentally, you see, why they say we're lazy now? Because they have mentally and spiritually oppressed us to the point that we just be pulling through teeth and pins and needles just to work through the oppression. And they want to say we're lazy. Like, Wait till that table turn. We gonna find out who's the real laziness through thick oppression. I can't wait, man. If the Most High blessed me to see that day, I want it, man. Just continue.
Okay.
Saw dollar signs. They thought they were taking advantage of a desperate people. They had no idea they were funding a fortress.
Spinning on Fanatics Casino, explained by Patrick Schwarzenegger, while also spinning.
Only Fanatics Casino has fan cash spins.
Montgomery would purchase the land for $7 an acre. But here's where the genius part came in, and the part that changed history. He set up a charter for the town. The policy included that the land in Mound Bayou could only be sold to other black folks. Think about that. He used the exact same restrictive covenants that white neighborhoods like Levittown used to keep us out, but he flipped that weapon. He used it to keep the oppressors out. This created an invisible wall around his town. If you didn't own the land, you couldn't vote in the town elections. If you couldn't vote, you couldn't be the sheriff. You couldn't be the judge. By controlling the land, you controlled the law. He
Genius, right? The same stuff that they used during this time against us. All he did was went to a place that they didn't care about, nobody wanted, and he made that the law of that land, right? And what do you do when you do that? You keep it in your community.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You keep it in your community, whether you die off or not. The person that comes up after you, whether it be your children, whether it be a friend, a brother, or any other just black person in general, guess what? They can't, even when they come in, like even if it's an Uncle Tom, they can't come in and change nothing, because the laws are set for it to only be sold to other blacks, right?
Moved with some urgency. He knew that they were on a race against time. The first settlers crept through in rough shanties, fighting off malaria and wild animals while clearing the trees by hand. But within a decade, the swamp was gone and the place was a bit of a miracle. By 1907, if you walk through the streets of Mound Bayou, you wouldn't have seen the struggle. You would have seen power. There were 13 black-owned stores. You would see 3 cotton gins humming with machinery. You would see a train depot that was busier than some of the white depots in neighboring towns. They even printed a newspaper, The Demonstrator, because if you didn't control the media, someone else would write your story for you. But this isn't just about buildings. The town also closed the loop on economics. In most places, a black farmer would grow his cotton, but he'd have to take it to a white gin to be processed. The white owner would then cheat him on the weight, and then he would take his money to a white bank where they would charge him predatory interest, and he would spend it in a white store that wouldn't even let him try on shoes. Every black dollar went into white hands immediately. But Mound Bayou changed that. The cornerstone of this strategy was the Bank of Mound Bayou, founded in 1904 by Charles Banks. They called him the Wizard of Finance. He understood that freedom wasn't real unless you could fund it. When he opened the bank, it wasn't just a place to store cash. Farmers from all over the Delta, even outside of the town, started to bring their money to Charles Banks, because when he walked to the lobby, they were treated like human beings. They could get a loan to buy seed or equipment without signing away their dignity. And that money stayed within the town. The bank lent that money.
See how much you could prosper when you don't, because this is how, like, Esau wants to take it all. Right? Esau adds all of these things into it when you get a loan. And now you paying back a loan at 120%. So you're literally, paying what you borrowed plus basically they're doubling it almost. Right? So now it's like they want to take everything. But when somebody that has some type of care for especially his own people, they get a bank. Guess what? It wasn't all that usury. It wasn't none of that. You will be able to come in there and get this, right? And pay it back, right? Or buy what you needed in order to get yourself back on track. Right? This is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? This is beautiful. Wish it could still be standing, and just might if they did keep commandments. You know what I'm saying? But let's just keep rolling. Let's get through it.
To the grocer hired a carpenter, the carpenter played the doctor, and the dollar circulated 5, 6, 7 times before it left the community.
See that? 7 times, right? 6 to 7 times the dollar circulated. Right now, that thing ain't circulating nothing. That dollar coming out of our pocket, we giving it right back to Esau. All right, hell, Esau taking the dollar before he give it to you.
Hey, even when you think about it, when you get a new car out the dealership and you get a loan, a lot of times they'll ask you, what do you need the car for? What are you going to use it? To when you know how many miles, all that, etc. They may ask all that, those kind of questions. And the reason is because their mind is set to like, all right, you travel this amount of miles a year, then this is how long the loan gonna be. So let's give them a 46-month loan, and then by the time you pay it off, then the car gonna be start giving you problems, and you're gonna come back and you're gonna get another loan. So they constantly try to take your money without even giving you a break. Because if the cars wasn't that important, or you ain't trying to rob the people pockets, you would be like, hey, I'm gonna give you a couple years to pay this off, and you still got low miles. You know what I'm saying? They would do something like that if that was rightly fair, but they not fair. They not fair ground people. So, double man.
But the greatest test of this infrastructure wasn't just banking, it was survival. During the 1940s, if you were black and you got sick in the Mississippi Delta, you were in trouble. White hospitals would not take you, or you were thrown in the basement ward with no heat and no nurses. You could die from a simple infection because you were on the wrong side of the color line. So Mount Bayou decided to build a healthcare system. They didn't ask the government for a grant. They went to fraternal orders. We often forget groups like the Knights and Daughters of Tabor. These were secret societies, benevolent orders where the members paid small monthly dues, mostly nickels and dimes. It was the original crowdfunding. They pulled together these nickels and dimes into a massive war chest and built the Taborian Hospital in 1942. This place was state of the art for the time. It had x-ray machines, incubators for premature babies, sterile operating theaters that rivaled anything in Memphis or Chicago. They hired black surgeons and paid them top dollar, and they had black nurses in crisp white uniforms. For a sharecropper who spent his whole life being called boy, walking into a black hospital had to be a life-changing experience. The man running this hospital was Dr. T.R.M. Howard. He knew that you couldn't just have a healthy body in a sick society. You had to fix the politics too. So he turned Mounds Bayou into a headquarters for the civil rights movement in the Delta. He launched Regional Council of Negro Leadership. Every year they would hold massive rallies in a field just outside of town. Sometimes up to 10,000 people would attend. Dr. Howard would get on stage and give them practical instructions on how to use their economic power. And this is where slogans like "don't buy gas when you can't use the restroom" would come from. This was years before the Montgomery bus boycott, and he was teaching people that their wallet was a weapon. And if a gas station wouldn't let you use the restroom, you keep your money in your pocket and keep driving. See, when you start messing with the money, the system begins to fight back. In 1954, the Supreme Court ruled on Brown versus Board of Education, and the white power structure in Mississippi panicked. They formed the White Citizens Council. These were bankers, politicians, merchants. They were called the middle class Ku Klux Klan. And they decided to use financial warfare to attempt to crush the movement. They initiated something called a credit freeze. They made a list of every activist, every member of NAACP, every person who dared to speak up. And they called banks and they said to call in your loans.
Doggone devil. All right. They tried it, but let's keep going. I ain't gonna elaborate too much. Let's see what happened when they tried that.
Suddenly, black business owners had 24 hours to pay off debts they thought they had years to pay. Farmers,
look at that, 20 days. The damn devil give you 24 hours to pay off debts, right? 24. But let's see, since our people had this nice and operating town, let's see what happened.
Went to buy seed and were told their credit was no good. Sharecroppers were kicked off their land. They tried to starve the movement into submission.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can.
And this is where the infrastructure of Mount Bayou saved the day, because Dr. Howard and his lenders didn't have to beg for mercy. They could look at the math and they organized what they called an anti-freeze fund. They reached out to the Tri-State Bank of Memphis and other black-owned institutions, and they moved massive amount of capital into the Delta. When a white bank called in a loan on a black activist, Dr. Howard could step in and say, we will take on that debt. They would pay off the white bank and refinance the loan for the black institution. This kept storekeepers stocked, this kept mortgages current, and this kept black trucks moving. But these type of efforts don't make headlines. It wasn't a march. It was a wire transfer. That wire transfer saved the movement. It bought them time. And in a long war, time can be the most expensive commodity. This black fortress protected people in ways that went beyond money. When Emmett Till was murdered just a few miles away, the trial was a dangerous farce. Black reporters and witnesses were threatened with death if they testified. Where did they go? They went to Mount Bayou. Dr. Howard turned his home into a command center. He set up an armed guard. He had a safe house. Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother, even stayed there. They would drive to the courthouse every morning to face that horror, and then drive back to Mount Bayou at night to sleep in the only place where the sheriff couldn't let the lynch mob in. And this brings us back to the image of that sheriff on the train platform that we began with. Now, what you need to understand is that what happened in Mount Bayou wasn't magic. It wasn't a utopia where everyone got along perfectly. It was a real place with real issues, but it was a proof of concept. It proved that poverty and chaos that we saw in other places wasn't natural. It was engineered. And when you remove the artificial weight of white supremacy, when you
that's all, I would just want to stop it there. The only thing I disagree with him on is, yes, it is engineered, but it's also it's divine. It's judgment. This is why we live like this, the way that we are, because we curse. It's because of Deuteronomy 28, when we was warned in the wilderness on keep his commandments and live. It's because of those reasons. So that's the one thing which I didn't expect them to necessarily have that knowledge, but all right, let's just let this little last minute play out.
Allow black people to own land and control the bank and police their own streets. We didn't just survive, we thrived. We built hospitals, banks with surplus capital. We built towns that were safe, clean, and more prosperous than the white towns that were attempting to destroy us. And Mount Bayou, it's still here today. It's smaller. The highway system bypassed it, and the economy changed, just like it did for a lot of small rural towns and for a lot of black businesses. But the most important thing about Mount Bayou isn't how big it is today, is that it never burned. Unlike Tulsa, unlike Rosewood, the mob never came from Mount Bayou. They couldn't. Infrastructure was too strong. Ownership was too absolute. They had built a wall of deeds and dollars that hate couldn't climb over. So the next time that someone talks about,
all right, that's it for that, right? So just wanted to show that, right? Because they get, always gives you the same wash and rinse story with Martin Luther King and all these other people. They don't go into this kind of stuff, right?
So I'm asking you, Perfecting Church family and friends, will you?
I don't want to play that just yet. I'm gonna come back.
Hey, can I grab something real quick off that video of that Dr. Howard?
Come.
Let me get Sirach 38, starting at verse 1, right? Because this is what the Bible talks about when we got to give honor, right? We got to give honor to a physician. You know what I'm saying? Our people sometimes get it twisted. You talk to a Negro Israelite and you tell him about what this is talking about, they're going to say, see, this is why we got to put all our faith and trust in these doctors. Because the pills that they give us, it also heals. It does this, it does that. But nah, when we find out what the real physicians are, right? Well, understanding the herbals, even understanding the money, right? Understanding that to keep a city still up and was thriving at one period of time, right? Let me get Sirach 38 and verse 1.
Okay. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him, for the uses which ye may have of him, for the Lord hath created him.
He created him, right? The Most High created a Dr. Howard. And no one talks about that, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell, I just found out about Dr. Howard today.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Read that again.
Honor a physician with the honor due unto him, for the uses which ye may have of him, for the Lord hath created him.
Right, man, we have black hospitals, man. We had the women getting paid for their just due, not being ripped off, taxed off, keeping the money in a circle, right? And we don't honor these kind of people. Why? Because they're not on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't got a camera in front of their face.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? See, this is what America's built on. As long as you got a camera and you got a following, you are known to be famous. But those that do the work for real, from grit to mud, they get no recognition. All we know about is Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we really know.
They give us our heroes.
God. Because they liked him. And they didn't really like him. They just liked the way he was talking to bring unity. That's the only thing they liked about him. Read verse 2.
For of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king.
Right. You ain't, the brother, Dr. Howard, ain't just about because, when we just reading about how he orchestrated, how everything striving for our people, man, this is when we talk about people that understood money. That was a physician, people that was a doctor, that was a physician, people that know how to do real estate. That's a physician. Where those people at? Right? Because and holding down the taxes and doing the clerical work of the books, like where them people at? Right? We ain't got time to be always hearing about someone say they had a dream. Right? All praise to the Most High, the brother is our brother. But the brother, he found out later on what he was doing was wrong, all praises. But guess what? What about the brothers like that? Like those videos, like that town. No one really even heard that town. I know I haven't.
God. I know I didn't either.
Thriving cities.
God, I ain't hear of it either until I was putting this together. But all praises.
And give me verse 3 real quick.
All right, verse 3. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration.
Right, that's in the sight of great men, right? That's the guy right there. He low key. He did what he did. He made his people grow. See, we don't talk about when our people grow. We know about the Black Wall Street. What about that? You know what I'm saying? We know about Black Wall Street, but we don't know nothing about that. So, man, hey, what we do know now, that our history is rising right now. And what we're seeing, that when we come back, when the Most High come and destroy this place, we're going to remember how we was out there busting our tails in the highways and byways, using the Most High words to burning America down. I really can't wait, and I'm glad to the Most High that I'm participating in the battle right now. And I hope to still stand and make it all the way through. I'll land there.
All right, so before I got to pull that video back up, because I'm going to end this class out talking about, talking about our people, the people that's definitely in the Bible that we should be learning about, right? So let me pull this back up because this is what's going to happen during this Black History Month, right? This is how your leaders of today, right? This is literally how they're gonna start off Black History Month, right? So I gotta pull this up. Got to pull this up, right? So check this out, right? Pastor Marvin Winans, right? Pastor in Detroit. Everybody knows who he is, right? So
I'm asking you, Perfected Church family and friends, will you stand in faith again? Will you believe again that our God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all we could ask or imagine? February 1st, Sacrificial Sunday. This is our moment. Returning your seed of 1 week's salary, making February 1st a day of record giving. We can and will do this together. The miracle on Woodward and 7 Mile. Our new home awaits. Let us step into our destiny together. So I'm asking.
So that brother on the first day of Black History Month, right? He's saying, hey, give me, everybody in here, give me your whole week's salary. You get paid, give it to me. Right? Forget it. Hey, rent due on the first. Right? If you don't have rent, mortgage due. Right? Something. Right? You got different bills that's due at the beginning of the month. And he says, hey, don't pay that. You give it to me. Give it to me so that we can build this church that they've been building on 7 Mile and Woodward, man, since I was little. For sure, at least in my teenage years, they've been building that church for about 20 years, man.
God.
And this dude say, hey, give me a 1 week salary. Man, please.
That's so huge, dog. Like a mile wide church.
Man, please. Like, man, that's how they starting out. That's your Black History Month, right?
God.
So you want to support your black pastors? Hey, don't be. Hey, I'm just here to tell you, don't be a fool.
Negro Israelites, man.
All right. So now let's get into the scriptures, right? So Deuteronomy 32.
All right.
And start at read verse 7.
All right, just the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
All right, so we got to remember the days of old, right? And we got to consider the many generations that passed, right? So now, when we consider in these many generations, right? So now let's go. Let's go. We're going to Sirach 44. We're starting at 44, right? And remember, y'all, this is why I said that it's going to be quite a bit of reading here, but that's okay. Right? So we're starting right here, chapter 44, and let's start at verse 1.
All right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that beget us.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord have wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning.
All right. So when we talk about Black History Month, how the world sees it, they do it to honor their great men, which is why you get the same people all the time. You know, Muhammad Ali, so on and so forth. All of these people, right? The women too. You know, Madam C.J. Walker, so on and so forth. But now what we're going to do here is we're going to literally give our people their just due. Right? So keep going.
All right. Verse 3. Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding, and declaring prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders of the people by their counsels, and by their knowledge of learning meet for the people. Wise and eloquent are their instructions.
See that? Wise and eloquent are their instructions. Leaders of the people, right? Wasn't just talking about people that Esau set up, right? When Esau gave his decree and said, "No, we ain't doing no Negro week, right? We're gonna give it a month, and we're gonna give you everybody we want you to celebrate." Right? Instead of doing exactly what Sirach is saying, right? Sirach is recognizing the people, the leaders of the people, right? The ones that declare prophecy, right? Keep going.
Verse 5, such as found out musical tunes and recited verses in writing. Rich men furnished with ability, living peaceably in their habitations.
Mm-hmm.
All these were honored in their generations and were the glory of their times.
Right. So now, keep going.
There be of them that have left a name behind them, that their praise might be reported.
Right. So this is why the book of Proverbs says, "Hey, is having a good name is better than silver and gold." Right. Go ahead.
Verse 9, and some there be which have no memorial, who are perished as though they had never been, and are become as though they had never been born, and their children after them.
Right. So, hey, some of them, hey, they don't even have a memorial. Right. So let's go. Let's jump down to verse 16.
Right, verse 16. Enoch pleased the Lord and was translated, being an example of repentance to all generations.
Right. We're not going to go too deep into Enoch, but we know what it was. Right. He was translated. Right. He was caught up by the chariots, and he went to be with the Most High. Right. Simple. Hey, he pleased the Lord. That's all we need to know. Right. That's all we need to know. Keep going.
Noah was found perfect and righteous. In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came.
Mm-hmm.
An everlasting covenant was made with him, that all flesh should perish no more by the flood.
Right. So name me one person that's given unto us in Black History Month that got a story like this. Name one that the Most High came down, that not necessarily came down, right, but that made an everlasting covenant with him. Because underneath all of these so-called heroes that's given unto us, hey, all flesh still perish to this day. Right? Go ahead.
All right. 19. Abraham was a great father of many people, and in glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh, and when he was proved, he was found faithful.
See that? And we know exactly how he was proved. Right? When he was going to do what he did with his son. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. 44. Go back to that view chapter. All right. So verse 21.
Verse 21. All right. Verse 21. Therefore, he assured him by an oath that he will bless the nations in his seed, and that he will multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the land.
Okay, go ahead.
With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham, his father's sake, the blessing of all men, and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him an inheritance, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them.
Right, and he continued that covenant through Isaac, through Jacob, right? Isaac and Jacob. All right, let's go. Chapter 45, verse 1.
All right, verse 1. And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of Yahweh and men, whose memorial is blessed. He made him like to the glorious saints, and magnified him, so that his enemies stood in fear of him.
Mm-hmm.
By his words, he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings, and gave him a commandment for his people, and showed him part of his glory.
See that? He gave, like, this is, imagine being the one that's chosen to give the law of the Most High God to the people, right? We just read it, and not us, knowing that we Israelites, but just people in the world. We just read this thing and we take it as a story, right? We take it as something that's old, but this is glorious to be literally. They call him the lawgiver, right? To be the one to give this, to teach an entire nation of people on how to keep a law, right? To give it to them, literally, over 600 commands. Just imagine that. And he was the first, right? He was literally the first in that time to receive that on that mount.
Hey, he's so important that he's the guy that wrote the 5 important books of the Bible.
Okay.
No credit to that.
Okay. Nobody talks about that during Black History Month. But let's keep going. Let's go to the next brother. Jump down to verse 6.
All right, verse 6. He exalted Aaron, an holy man like unto him, even his brother of the tribe of Levi.
Mm-hmm.
An everlasting covenant he made with him, and gave him the priesthood among the people. He beautified him with comely ornaments, and clothed him with the robe of glory.
See that? He had him looking fly. Right? Keep going.
Hey, real quick too. No one talks about that the Levites, the so-called Haitians, are the most famous people in the book. Without them, man, we wouldn't even be here.
That's right.
They call them the crazy heads over there, right? They lost it. You know what I'm saying?
And which is why it's explainable of why Moses was the way he was in the wilderness. That's why he was pissed off. And this is how, how some people will view Haitians, like, oh, they got anger issues. Nah, they got that spirit of Moses in them. And we know what the children of Israel did. So this is why they don't take no BS.
Hey, not just the spirit of Moses, they got the spirit of Yahweh on them. They don't take the Most High don't take no BS, so his priest ain't taking no BS.
Yeah.
Let me read 8 again. He put upon him perfect glory, and strengthened him with the rich garments, with breeches, with the long robe, and the ephod.
Okay, now let's go down to verse 15. This is still on Aaron.
All right. Verse 15. Moses consecrated him and anointed him with holy oil. This was appointed unto him by an everlasting covenant, and to his seed, so long as the heavens should remain, that they should minister unto him and execute the office of the priesthood and bless the people in his name. He chose him out of all men living to offer sacrifices to the Lord, incense and a sweet savor, for a memorial to make reconciliation for his people.
See that? This is what he chose Aaron for. Like he said, this is when Michael Allah literally just said that without them, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't, right? Because who's going to offer the sacrifices on our behalf?
Okay.
Who's going to bring the doves? Who's going to bring these rams of the first year without blemish? Who's going to do that? Right? Nobody was set up to do that except, right, the Levites, except Aaron and his children. Right? Nobody else. This is a praise. Remember, it started out in verse 44. Let us praise famous men. Right? So these are the men that the Most High set up. These are the men that we should be giving they just due. Now, I know Martin Luther King. I know goddamn Malcolm X. Right? Not none of them. Right? Now, did them brothers try to do something for their people? Sure. But they ain't do this. They didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? So now
they had the power, but not the spirit.
Okay. Let's jump down to verse 23.
Because in order to be incredible like these men, you have to have the spirit and the power on top. So there's no stopping that.
Okay.
All right, verse 23. Are you gonna say something, bro?
No.
Oh, verse 23. The third in glory in Phoenice, son of Eleazar, because he had zeal in the fear of the Lord and stood up with good courage of heart. When the power were turned back and made reconciliation for Israel.
See that? So this is another priest, right? This is another priest. This is Phinehas in in the apocrypha, but when you read is literally Phineas, right? The son of Eleazar, which we know that they were high priests. Right? Keep going.
Verse 24. Therefore was there a covenant of peace made with him, that he should be the chief of the sanctuary and of his people, and that he and his posterity should have the dignity of the priesthood forever.
All right. You can stop right there. So now let's go. Next chapter. And verse 1.
All right, verse 1. Yahushua, the son of Nave, was a valiant in the wars.
Right, and this is Joshua, right? This is Joshua, the son of Nun, right? Go ahead.
And was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made a great for the saving of the elect of Yahweh, and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance.
Right, because he was the one that divvied out the lands. Right? Moses knew who was getting what, but still didn't divide it. Joshua did that. Right? Because throughout the wilderness, throughout all of the craziness that our people was doing, throughout all of the creating of the golden calves and golden whatever else that they wanted to worship, right? Joshua stayed humble, right? Joshua still led the people, right? Joshua and Caleb.
And you know what's so funny about Caleb? He didn't get his land till later on.
Okay.
It was one of the first ready to go to war with Joshua, saying we can take these giants out. But later on, he gets his land last.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call a patient and love for your people. Like, hey, I'd rather have my people get it. Okay, now everybody good, so let me give my partake so I can make an inheritance for my family. We don't got that today, man.
Okay, right. So go down to verse 7.
Verse 7. In the time of Moses, also he did a work of mercy, he and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and that they withstood the congregation and withheld the people from sin and appeased the wicked murmuring.
See that? They made that stuff cease.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They like, nah, we ain't doing none of that. You know what I'm saying? They literally right withstood the congregation, a roaring people, right? People that's literally, remember what they did to Aaron, right? They basically pressured Aaron into making the golden calf.
Okay.
And Caleb and Joshua like, nah, that ain't happening. We ain't doing that.
Okay.
Keep going.
Verse 8, and of 600,000 people on foot, they too were preserved to bring them into the heritage, even unto the land that which floweth with milk and honey. The Lord gaveth also unto Caleb, which renamed which remained with him unto his old age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for an heritage.
Right, that just goes into what you brought up. All right, so now let's go down to verse 11.
And concerning the judges, every one by name, whose heart went not a whoring, nor departed from the Lord, let their memory be blessed.
Right, so and it's a lot of them, right? Just to name a few, Gideon, which nobody ever really talks about.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever really talks about Gideon and what he did, unless you read the book of Judges.
God.
Right? Most high willing, we'll do a class and bring that stuff out. You know what I'm saying? You got Gideon, you got Jephthah, that's spelled, right? You got who else was a judge? Deborah or Deborah. Right, you got all of these people that we could be giving recognition to, and we want to keep doing the same old rinse and recycle people on Black History.
Hey, even Esther, right? And Mordecai. No one talks about them. Who is more? Hey, they only bring these and it's cool. You can bring our forefathers out, in these Christian churches, bring them out. But when you try to disguise them that it was you of your kind, that's when you mess it all up. Because like, hey, Mordecai, and Esther, and we're going back to the Apocrypha, Judith. You know what I'm saying? These powerful women. You know what I'm saying? The list go on and on.
Okay. All right, you could go to verse 13.
All right, verse 13. Samuel, the prophet of the Lord, beloved of his Lord, established a kingdom and anointed princes over his people. Prince.
And what does that mean? He established the kingdom, right? Who did Samuel set up? Right? We know that he eventually set up David. Right, to be king. You know what I'm saying? Eventually. Right? And he didn't hold no bar, even with David. When David went off, he went right to him and checked it. Right? He went right to him and checked him like, hey, what would you do if this man did this, and that? And he literally told him, hey, you that guy. Right? So he like, hey, no holds bars with Samuel.
Salaki, I think that was Nathan.
That was Nathan that went to David?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Nathan.
Okay, Khan.
I came to him and talked to him.
Khan was lucky on that. But keep going.
Verse 14. By the law of the Lord, he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob. By his faithfulness, he was found a true prophet, and by his word, he was known to be faithful in vision. He called upon the mighty Lord when his enemies pressed upon him on every side when he offered the sucking lamb.
All right, we can jump. Okay. Let's go to the next chapter, right? Khan, you're right. Here go Nathan right here.
Okay, Khan. All right, verse 1. And after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the time of David, as is the fat taken away from the peace offering, so was David chosen out of the children of Israel. He played with lions as with kids.
See that? As a kid, playing with lions. Man, please. I don't even want. Y'all already know we ain't playing with no lions. We don't even care if it's a baby lion. We ain't playing with it.
God.
that thing gotta. Hey, we gotta get away from that.
God. Hey, and also that is also referring to him also fighting them because he was protecting them lambs. And we ain't playing. We like you said, where in the world that we with our bare hands that we about to
rip open?
Exactly, man. We ain't about to do none of that, man. If that ain't famous, I don't know what is. Man, let's get out of here with that, man.
Yeah, because you see what happened to the brother Idris Elba, and the one movie, man, that lion tore him up, man.
God.
And the lion would have killed him.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, verse 4. Slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? And did he not take away reproach from the people when he lifted up his hand with the stone and the sling and beat down the boasting of Goliath?
Right, he whooped on a giant. Right, go ahead.
For he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay that mighty warrior, and set up the horn of his people.
See that? He set up the horn of his people through David. Right? These are men that should be praised, right? Let's go down to verse 12. Right. And it behooves everybody to just read through these. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of, they summarize and everything, but you can just kind of, get a feel for the brothers, because there's many more that wasn't mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like when they mention the judges, it's individual judges that you should go and read about.
Okay.
Right? Verse 12.
Verse 12. And after him rose up a wise son, and for his sake he dwelt at large.
Mm-hmm.
Solomon reigned in a peaceable time and was honored. For Yahweh made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house in his name and prepare his sanctuary forever.
Right? So he's basically, Solomon had a taste of the kingdom. Right? He had a taste of the kingdom. He was the wisest king. Right? He was the wisest king. Keep going.
How wise was thou in thy youth, and as a flood filled with understanding.
As a flood filled with understanding, he had that knowledge, man. He had the knowledge to discern what to do, what not to do, how to judge righteously. Right? That's why when them women came to him with their BS, he like, hey, just cut the boy in half and y'all both can take it. Y'all can both take him.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was given that. All right. Let's go down to verse 23.
God. Verse 23. Thus rest Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel.
Mm-hmm.
There was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin and showed Ephraim the way of sin.
Right, so this is what not to follow. Right, because he's letting you know that even though Solomon was wise, his son Rehoboam, he like, man, I ain't finna listen to the counsel of y'all old heads. My boy's telling me the right thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Our homeboy's telling me the right thing. And it lets you know it was foolishness. It was literally foolishness. And we know Jeroboam, what he did. So let's skip them. Right, let's go to Elijah.
All right. This is 48 in verse 1 in the book of Sirach. Then stood up Elijah, the prophet, as fire, and his word burned like a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
He brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. By the word of the Lord he shut up the heaven, and also 3 times brought down fire.
See that? 3 times. Who has ever been given the power to do that?
Okay.
Right? Which one of these people during February 1st to February 28th been given the power to do that? The fire that they bring is them getting set on fire from Esau. That's about the only fire that they can bring up.
God.
All right, verse 4.
All right, verse 4. O Elijah, how wast thou honored in thy wondrous deeds, and who made glory like unto thee?
Mm-hmm.
Who didst raise up a dead man from death, and his soul from the place of the dead, by the word of the Most High?
Right, so you can skip that. Let's go on verse 12.
All right, verse 12. Elijah it was who was covered with the whirlwind, and Elisha was filled with the Spirit. While as he lived, he was not moved with the presence of any prince, neither could any bring him into subjection.
All right, so he got that double portion of his father's spirit, right? When Elijah was taken up. All right, go ahead.
No word could overcome him, and after his death, his body prophesied.
Mm-hmm.
He did wonders in his life, and his death were his works marvelous.
See that? So these are men, and this is just a few. Right? You got a slew of prophets, right? Actually, no, there's some more that's listed. My bad. I'm cutting it off too soon. Verse 17.
All right, verse 17. Ezekiel fortified the city and brought in water and brought in water into the midst thereof. He digged the hard rock with iron and made wells for waters.
Mm-hmm.
And in this time, and Sennacherib Cherub came up and sent Rabses, whatever. I don't know who that was. Whatever. Rabses.
That's it. Yeah. You can go ahead. That's the best we can do right now.
And lifted up his hand against Zion and boasted proudly. Then trembled their hearts and hands, and they were in pain as women in travail.
Mm-hmm.
But they called upon the Lord, which is merciful, and stretched out their hands toward him. And immediately the Holy One heard them out of heaven and delivered them by the ministry of Isaiah.
Okay. All right. So go 22.
He smote the most of the Assyrians, and his angel destroyed them. For Ezekiel had done the thing that pleased the Lord, and was strong in the ways of David his father, and Isaiah the prophet, who was great and faithful in his vision, had commanded him.
Right, and it wasn't Ezekiel. This is Hezekiah.
Khan.
So this is Hezekiah. All right. So keep going.
Hey, I'm glad you said it because I was thinking like, hold on, Isaiah wrote before Ezekiel. So I'm glad you cleaned it up. I'm just flowing with it. Glad you cleaned that up, brother. God. Verse 23. In his time, the sun went backward and lengthened the king's life.
See that? So how many people that you know that done this? Right? How many people in the month of February done this? They can't.
God.
They can't do this for nobody. They can't give nobody life. Only the Most High can.
God.
Right? And Hezekiah is one that can literally witness that and give that testimony, which we see it written here.
God.
All right, go ahead.
All right. He saw by an excellent spirit that should come to pass at the last, and he comforted them that mourn in Zion. He showed what should come to pass forever, and secret things or ever they came.
All right, so real quick, we're gonna get through these. Just a few more. Right, so we're gonna read verse 1.
All right. Verse 1. The remembrance of Josiah is like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary. It is sweet as honey in all mouths, and as music at a banquet of wine.
Verse 2.
He behaved himself uprightly in the conversion of the people, and took away the abominations of iniquity.
All right, so he did this as a young man, right? Remember, Josiah he was one of the youngest kings, right? And he tore down all of those groves that our people had set up. He was like, man, we getting this crap out of Jerusalem, right? This ain't supposed to be here.
Right? How was he? 8 years old or 7, something like that?
He was 8. He was 8. Yeah. Verse 4.
All right, verse 4. All except David and Hezekiah and Josiah were defective, for they forsook the law of the Most High. Even the kings of Judah failed.
Right, so we all know the story that we failed eventually. Right, keep going.
Therefore, he gave their power unto others, and their glory to a strange nation.
Right, we know that's who? The Babylonians. Right, go ahead.
They burnt the chosen city of the sanctuary and made the streets desolate, according to the prophecy of Jeremiah.
See that? According to the prophecy of Jeremiah. Go ahead.
For they entreated him evil, who nevertheless was a prophet, sanctified in his mother's womb, that he might root out and afflict and destroy, and that he might build up also and plant.
See that? So from his mother's womb, he already knew. This is why he told Jeremiah what he told. From thy mother's womb, I knew thee. All right. Verse 8.
It was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision, who was showed him upon the chariot of the cherubims. And for he made mention of the enemies under the figure of the rain, and directed them that went right.
All right, so Ezekiel even saw these chariots. right? What they look like, describe them down to the best of his ability, right? Verse 10, and this is the last one.
Verse 10, and of the 12 prophets, let the memorial be blessed, and let their bones flourish again out of their place. For they comforted Jacob and delivered them by a short hope.
Right, these are the 12 prophets, right? We know, Habakkuk, Micah, Zechariah, so on and so forth, right? All of these men, these are who we should be giving that praise and glory and honor to. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the Most High, right? We know that he gets the praise, honor, and glory first, right? First and foremost. Because as we can see, Sirach went ahead and said, hey, let us now praise famous men. Right? Let us celebrate Black history. This is what we would say in today's time. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, all praise to the Most High willing brothers and sisters, was edified. I definitely, found some things out. I think that was definitely pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? That stuff in forgot the name of it already. Mound Bayou, right? Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, all praise to the Most High. Like I said, it's good to be back here again. And that's all I got.
Hey, let me bring out two more real quick before we close it out real quick. Let me get Sirach 6 and 34 real quick. You know what? I make that one last because that'll be the shortest one. I'm gonna make this ain't gonna be long. I just want to bring this out. This came to memory. Let me get Acts chapter 7, start at verse 14.
All right. Acts 7. You said 13?
14, right? Because we on about the famous men. And it's just repeating it back where you don't even got to see it in the Apocrypha. You will also see it in the book of Acts when our people were getting the history right back to them after the Pentecost, right? So right after Stephen had passed away, this is what was taught back to the people to bring in remembrance. Why? Because this is our famous people. These are our people that delivered Israel, that created, that built up Israel, and what we have right now, right? So let me get 14 real quick.
All right, it's the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 14. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 75 souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers, and were carried over to Shechem, and lay in the sepulchre that Abraham bought for a sum of money of the sons of Emor, the father of Shechem.
Right. See, Abraham bought us. We had our own burial place, man. That's something that's never been told. That where we can lay our heads at, right? So right now we in different type of tomb places where they ain't got none of our names at right now. But our forefather Abraham had a place where we can lay and rest at. Go ahead.
But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt. Till another king arose, and which knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtly with our kindred and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end they might not live. In which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and in deeds.
And that's what I was bringing out earlier in Exodus, that, hey, when they looked at the Israelites, how we were mighty, it was not just in mighty of strength, it was all in wisdom, words and in deeds, right? And I just wanted to bring that out real quick, just showing you that Moses was a wise man. My last one, let me get Sirach chapter 6 and 34.
6.
Right? Our people was full of wisdom, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the true history. When we were connected to our Father God, that's the history. History that we were priests and rulers on the earth, right? But go ahead.
It's the book of Sirach chapter 6 and verse 34. Stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise.
Why? Because they are they help build this future. They helped build the future and where we stand today. If it wasn't for Moses and all the names that we just named, we wouldn't have an understanding who we are today. Right? Go ahead. 35.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
Right. Listen, and that's why we gotta honor our elders, man. Because especially those that been in One West, we have to pay so much homage. That's why even in camps, respect your elders that already seen it or been there or done it. Right? Because guess what? They elders taught them.
Okay.
That's history on us. One West is a history right now. That's a black history that no one's talking about.
Okay.
If it wasn't for One West, we wouldn't have an understanding that we the Israelites. For all the brothers that did the mortar and brick in the streets, that's it. And look what we're doing. We're repeating the history. Why? Because we got to stand in the multitude of elders and cleave unto them. And we've got to be willing to hear, not willing to argue and debate, willing to hear. Right? 36.
And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him.
Right. Hold on. When you utilize elders, if you in L.O.I, utilize the elders. If you in another camp, utilize your elders. Because they're gonna help you see things that you don't even imagine. And they're gonna be able to tell you stories where you didn't even think of. And then it's gonna put wisdom in your spirit. You never forsake the elders. You crazy if you do. Take the criticism when the elders give it to you. Why? Because that should build you up to be a better man or a woman.
That's right.
Don't take it in offense. That's why it says, stand in the multitude of elders and cleave and be willing to hear every godly discourse. No matter if they tell you what you're doing right or wrong. Learn from it. Don't argue it. Just say, all right, come, got you. This is our history, man. Go ahead.
And let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
Right? Go ahead.
Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thy own desires.
That's it. That's why I hold on to an elder. Even if it's an elderly sister. If it's sisters that's dealing with sisters and they elderly, take heed. Don't be feeling like you know better and you can do better, man. This is why this is our history. Our history of black people, of so-called black people, Israelites, is that we took heed to the elders. And that's what we got to do today. We can't act like we know it all because we know a little bit of precepts. Hold on to these elders because you don't know what you think you know. It's more to learn. All right, now land there.
Hey, all praises, man. All praises. Right, so just one announcement. Let me pull this up real quick. And it's just, the Passover, right? April 1st of what we call 2026, right? We're going to be celebrating in Newark, New Jersey. If you're not a part of L.O.I. and want to attend, email us at loigatherings@gmail.com. Right, and just RSVP, with however many will be coming with you. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, join us if you can. If you're not, keeping it on your own, join us so we can bring in, the Lord's feast day. You know what I'm saying? This is the day that we serve the Most High, and then we enjoy each other. Right, serving the Most High comes first. We got to do this to be obedient, and then we can have the laughs and the giggles and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, I just say that to say a Shar Shabbat. Again, I hope this was edifying. Good to be back. And all praises to the Most High. Shalom, y'all. Oops.
spacious air, reflecting the way of life under the Florida sky. Even the lobbies funnel in the great outdoors.
Chosen.
I was set apart for God's use. Chosen. I was set apart for God's use. Formed in His image.
Chosen. They say the chain of Shaitan is not that strong. They say his time is running out, he ain't got that long. They say murder, murder, kill, this is not that song. Said I won't amount to nothing, they got that wrong. Cause I was set apart and I was shown the light. And if I get the kingdom, I'll be clothed in white. 1/3 will be delivered and the rest were blinded. Their fate is set in stone, what you ain't read the fine print? Christ is gonna give a crown to us. In the end we'll have the nations bowing down to us, with their faces to the ground to us. It's the truth, as crazy as it sounds to us. Jacob forever rules, and we're his precious jewels. Showed us love and patience, put us above the nations. And that's the gospel, thank God for choosing me. Bad news for you, it's really good news for me.
I was set apart for God's use. Chosen. I was set apart for God's use. Formed in His image.
Let me tell you why. We have a different kind of shine, a different kind of mind. The rhythm's not the same, we're on a different type of time. With a different kind of pace, a different kind of race. The season's not the same, we have a different kind of taste. A different kind of salt, we are so not them. Got my sword and my shield, man, I'm so locked in. And when I came to serve Yahweh, I put my whole heart in. So I can't sit calm, I'm no Martin. And that's a reach, y'all, chosen to teach y'all. Every Sabbath you can find us in the streets, y'all. Dare ya Allah, my nickname is Priest, y'all. In the gym, they say that I'm a beast, y'all. Set apart, the nations all hating me. Set a trap, they lying in wait for me. Chris Paul, they don't wanna play with me. But if you love me, I'm asking that you pray with me. Cause
I was set apart for God's use. Chosen. I was set apart for God's use. Formed in His image.
Chosen. And thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people, chosen above all people that's on the face of the earth. That's Deuteronomy 7:6. That's you, black and Latin man. Chosen. That's you, black and Latin woman. Yeah. And we the chosen. Chosen.